Hi guys, welcome back to your Not So Ordinary Scrapbook channel. So tonight I thought that I would go through a few of my layouts that I worked on the past few days, I guess since last Friday. I kind of scrapbooked most of the weekend, but I didn't do it in here because Minnie J was staying with us. He stayed the weekend with us, so I had to be in the same room with him, and my office is kind of too small to put his wheelchair in here. So it was just easier to like take a small kit, one of my page kits, into the living room and a envelope of photos. I just grabbed an envelope that I printed out at Walmart in March of 2022. And scrapbook while we watch TV. So that's kind of what I did. So I'm going to show you these layouts, and then I think we'll work a little bit more on some of the photos that I have here. So most of the photos in this pack were of an Arizona trip that I took for my daughter-in-law's bridal shower. It was back in 2022, and so I plan to make an album for each of the kids and their weddings. In that album will include the bridal shower, the engagement party, anything leading up to the wedding, and then the wedding itself. So that is my plan, and then they will have that album eventually. I'm sure they'll want it. I would want it if someone had made me an album with a bunch of pictures that they took surrounding my wedding. I think I would want them. I hope they want them. If not, I won't know because I won't be here. So so it's just but I'm hoping. So this was the last layout that I completed. This just says yes, happy. There's like some jemmies here. Like there's like a diamond there and a heart. And then this is my daughter-in-law, Yesenia. And Matt actually came to the bridal shower to drop off roses to her. He is that boy, I swear. I don't know, but I guess I must have raised him right. Although Hunter is very loving to Jordan. I don't think that they have as much, they have a lot of kids, so I don't think that they have a lot of like expenditure money. Is that what you call it? Excessive money to spend on flowers and stuff. He may buy her flowers, I don't know, and I don't know about it. I know they go on a lot of date nights. They like to go to the movies together and do things together, hang out, go out to eat and stuff like that. So they're just two different types of couples. But I thought that it was very precious that Matt dropped a bouquet of roses off to his bride, and then he left. and then it was all the women. This is the venue or the view from the venue where the bridal shower was. It was on the lake. So this is on the beach. It was actually during spring break, and there were just a ton of people in the water because it was where they live. It's kind of a tourist place for college students, so there's always a lot of college kids that go there during the summertime, and there was a lot of guys there. In fact, she got whistled at quite a bit during her shower by guys, college guys that would walk by. They just kept whistling at her. And so, and this is me under the big pavilion at the park. It's like a park and a beach. So, and then this page is of, it just says relax and play games. And this was a ring game. I was going to say ring toss, but I didn't have anything to really say toss. So ring escape is what I called it. At the time, Yesenia was really into Ariana Grande. I don't think she's very much into her anymore. I'm not sure. But she wrote a song that was called Seven Rings or something like that. And so her sister, who threw the bridal shower, she played that song, and we had these fake rings that we had to throw into these crystal glasses, and whoever got the most rings in won a prize. And this game, I put favorite bride because this is just a traditional bridal shower game where there's a pair of people and then they wrap each other up in toilet paper and make a wedding dress out of it. So that was kind of neat. And fun to watch. So that is that layout. This is my sister Anne. This is my sister Jenny. And then these are all friends and relatives of hers, of Yesenia. I'm going to move that there. And this says March Stories because the bridal shower was in March. They got married in April, so the bridal shower was about a month before the wedding. And then so here she is at the table. We had Jimmy John's subs to eat, and then there was a lot of other stuff. A bakery made these cookies that said MY. Then they had a dessert table with a cake and donuts on a pegboard, and some other things. These fancy cookies. It just was really pretty. Really pretty wedding. Yessie is not real big into pink. She, in fact, I call her a beige mom to Aria because she prefers no color at all. So like when we buy clothes for Aria, she prefers tan or white. And very plain, just not very decorative. Just like she likes solid colors. Toys as well. She likes very muted beige toys, ivory toys, white toys, just because that's kind of her aesthetic. The playroom is almost completely white, like white couch, white slide, white swing set, white foam things on there. Just it's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. It looks like a really high class daycare center, but or preschool, but yeah, and so her wedding was mostly green, the sage green and white were her colors. So I tried to, with this, I tried to add some color because I like color, but not too much pink. So this is more of like a orangey kind of melon type color, and then this is like a peach. So it kind of blends in. I don't know exactly what color this would be. It's not really salmon. I have the hardest time with this color. If any of you guys know what color this is, please tell me, because I always want to say salmon, but it's not salmon. And I always think that it's like a melon color, but it's not melon either. So I don't know. It's kind of like a really dark peach, but I know there's a name for it. I just can't think of it. But that's that layout. And then this one says, "Oh, the anticipation for a wedding," and "Love this moment, great fun, amazing times." And this one I kind of did mostly in blue with some florals. You're going to see yellow throughout this, just because a lot of people wore yellow to the shower. I wore yellow to the shower. There was a lot of highlighted yellow in the shower, so like I put M heart Y on this wedding cake. But there was a lot of people there, and this is just like all the people eating. There was a huge food table, and we wore like this like a necklace with wedding rings around it, and like you couldn't say bride. If you said bride, then people would take your necklace, your ring necklace. And then here's her opening gifts. So she got a lot of themed gifts. She owns a Cricut, and her sisters borrowed her Cricut to make a lot of gifts for her. And that was really fun for her because it was a surprise for her, but she already had the tools, so they just borrowed it for that. And she used her Cricut a lot for the wedding too. A lot of really beautiful personalized things were made with the Cricut for the wedding. So she has a cup that her sisters made her that says bride, and then the date of their wedding. And then this says McPhail bride, because that's her last name. That's my son's last name. And then this says McPhail established 2022. Wifey established 2022, and they even were able to decorate her shoes, and her shoes are white with lace. They're tennis shoes, and then they say McPhail on the shoes. So, and she is pretty shocked that like her sisters were so creative. I think they told her that they were going to borrow the Cricut to decorate for the shower, and then they ended up making her a bunch of stuff, which I think is so cool. She has really cool sisters. And then this is the other side. It says my true love, and then love. And here she is holding another t-shirt that her sisters made that says Mrs. McPhail. And then this is Matt, my son Matt, with Yessie. This is when he came to bring her the roses. And this just says favorites from today. And then this one is called My Wedding Party. It just says hello beautiful. It says difficult roads lead to beautiful destinations. And then this says two hands joined in friendships, two hearts joined in love. And this just says a lovely day. And then these are all of her bridesmaids. So she had, let's see, 6 bridesmaids and 1 maid of honor. So this girl in the blue, that's her best friend from high school. So she was her maid of honor. Her 2 sisters were in the wedding. There's Tish, and this is Tish. This is her sister Tish, and then this is her sister Carla. And then this is her boss. Well, not really her boss, because she owns her own, the owner of the spa that she rents a room at, and then she does her esthetician. So they're very close friends. She's kind of her bonus mom. It's kind of interesting how this whole dynamic came out, because So this is Katie, and Katie is, how they met Yesenia was, this is Chloe, who also was in her wedding as a bridesmaid, and that's their daughter. And they met her when Yesenia was in high school, and they needed a babysitter for Chloe. And so her and her husband hired Yesenia, and they became very close with her. And then she was kind of a live-in nanny for a while for them, and they became really close. And then her and her husband Jake, Katie and Jake, they became like parents to Yesenia, because her mom lives in Mexico, and her dad now lives in Mexico, but her dad was living in the United States then. But so Jake and Katie kind of took Yesenia under their wing, and pretty much raised her kind of from through the high school years. So that was really cool that they have that bond together. And then It's a Beautiful Day. So this says, families fill our lives with happiness and laughter, leaving us memories to treasure today and forever after. And this just says, love, it's a beautiful day. Always love, honor, cherish. Joy, always. Love life. So this is me with Yesenia. And then here's another one of me, kind of a full length. This is my family. So this is my mom, and this is me, Yesenia, my sister Anne, and my sister Jennifer. And then this is my mom, and then this is her grandma. This is Yesenia's grandma, who lives in Arizona. So, and this is her dad's mom. So it's a beautiful picture. And this is a grandma, actually. Aria has blue-green eyes, and we always thought that Aria got it from Matt, because Matt has really bright blue eyes. But her grandma actually has green-blue eyes, which is so interesting, because you don't see that very often. And then I found these pictures in this thing. This is Kason when he was newborn. He was probably about 2 weeks old here. I was watching him while Jordan was working. And so this is our little Kason that passed away in May when he was 3. But this is about the age. Jordan and Hunter got Kason when he was about 6 or 7 days old from the hospital. And they would have gotten him like immediately, except for he was detoxing from drugs. And so he was in the NICU. And at this time here, he was still detoxing from drugs. They weren't completely out of his system, even at this point. When I first started watching him, he would like tremor. He would have little tremors, and it was just heartbreaking to watch, because he was addicted to like 3 different really hardcore drugs. But precious little guy. So we had him for quite a long time. And then this one is, I want to hold your hand. Life is tough right here, right now. This happened. Free spirit. So I want to do, after I made these layouts, I decided I want to make an album of Kason's life, because I have a lot of photos, like up from pretty much birth till he passed away. And so I decided that I would make an album of Kason's life. I don't know what is on there. It's like piece of sticky stuff. But I titled this, I Want to Hold Your Hand, because even up until the day he died, he would, when he was tired, he would climb up in your lap and he wanted you to hold his hand. And I think it's because it made him feel safe. He needed you to hold his hand in order to fall asleep. And when he was newborn, Scott had taken this picture of Kason grabbing for my thumb. And it just is so Kason, you know, because when I saw that, I almost gasped. I was like, oh, he was doing that back then. I had forgotten that Scott took that picture, that he reached for my thumb as a newborn, but he did it for 3 years, so 3.5 years. So that's our little Kason. So that's it. That's what I did pretty much over the weekend while I was in between caring for Jordy and like hanging out. Scott had to work most of the days. Sorry, I'm gonna have my snack. So and then I'm going to grab this page cap. This is around March and April. This isn't the same page kit that I had started using, but I kind of exasperated like all the paper like that was kind of wedding-ish. So we're gonna see what we got here that I can use, because I still have these are the photos of the shower that I have left. So there's the food table, and then there's more gifts, her opening gifts from other people. This is so cool. I forget what this means. Like, it's got all these Roman numerals, but I think that it is their wedding date, from, if I remember right. It's like their wedding date in Roman numerals or something like that. Yeah, these are all their gifts. I bought her this. So what we got them for their shower is I ordered them a personalized poster, kind of, well, it's picture size. So I think it was like, I don't know, 10 by, it was bigger than an 8 by 10. What is the next size up? 11 by, I don't know, I'm not even gonna guess what it was, but I ordered it off of some website, and the song for their wedding was the theme song from Twilight. So it was like, you know, time stands still, whatever, however that song goes. And so these are all the words to that song in the heart, and then it has their names under that, and then their wedding date underneath that. So what Scott and I got them was that we had it framed, professionally framed, and then we gave them money to help them pay for part of the wedding. So that was in the card, the money to help them pay for part of the wedding. And that was our gift to them. And that was kind of the same with Hunter and Jordan. We helped pay for Hunter and Jordan's wedding, and so that was their gift to them, was that helping pay for the wedding. You know what? I don't know if this is gonna work, because these are not wedding-ish at all. So let's try this again. I hate to go outside the box, and grab a bunch of stuff, but I think I'm gonna have to, because this paper goes with it. Like with the paper, it matches with the paper. It's that same dark. So this works. So I'm definitely going to use that one. I'm not going to use this book paper for this thing. Definitely not this. This is very similar to the other paper that I have that I did one of the layouts of. Let me see. Sometimes you just gotta pull from other places, even though it's not necessarily in the plans. Usually I try to stick with a page kit just because it's easier to stay with the kit than it is to so we can use that. I would use this one because I like the floral, but there's stars on the back and there's not really anything that would wedding-ish about stars. This is too pink. It's on the back of this one. No, that's not wedding-ish. No, this is though. Okay, so I have about 8 pages, which I think is going to be plenty for this, for what I have left. So that is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to cut this. This room seems really dark tonight. I may have to turn the fan on because I'm getting hot. So yesterday I didn't have to work because I had signed up to take this course through U of I, and it was on writing meaningful reports. So a big part of my job is writing reports. I have to write a report after each session with each child, just to kind of record like what skills we worked on, progress made, that kind of stuff after every session. And then that goes in their file. And then and then at 6 months, every 6 months, I have to write at the 6-month point of the year, I have to write a 6-month review. And then we have a meeting, which I have one kiddos meeting this Thursday at 9 o'clock. And basically that's done on the phone with the service coordinator and with the other therapist that the child sees. And then but I'm there at the home. So I'm the only one there at the home during that meeting, but everybody else is on the phone. So I'm there with the parents at that time. So like if any questions arise or anything like that, I can feeler like those questions and pass them on. But like usually it's on speakerphone, and I don't know why they don't zoom it. It just doesn't make sense. I would think that they would want to zoom it so everybody could be like present, but I don't know why they just don't do that. But it's, they, like the last one that I did with a child was on the phone. So I'm not sure if it's going to be Zoom or not, but I don't think so. From what I understand, it's not. I don't know what they do for the IFSP meetings because I haven't seen a child for a complete year yet because I've only been doing this for about 6 months. So, so I'm just kind of like at the halfway mark with a lot of kids. And then at a year, then I'll be doing like IFSP meetings for kids with the therapists and stuff. We're all like a multidisciplinary unit that we all make decisions, and including the parents, and we just kind of like all talk about skills and things that we want the child to work on, and things that the parents want. Basically, that's our main goal, is to provide services for whatever the parents want. So they are the most important people on the team. So but it was really good. I'm glad that I signed up for it because you're not born, you know, that's one thing that you don't learn in school, is like how to make your reports meaningful and mean something to the parents, and help you engage more with the parent to be on the same page. And you know, you don't want to be negative in a report. You always want to focus on the positives, even though sometimes, you know, there are hard things that need to be discussed. A little heart. You know, depending on the situation. You okay, what embellishment should I use? Now I'm all discombobulated because, okay, I think these might match somewhat. Ooh. So we'll just do that. So that might work. So it was really good. Anyways, I learned a lot about, you know, trying to wording my report in a certain way that makes it positive and engaging, so to the parents, so like they feel like they have been heard. That's the most important thing, is to kind of make them feel like they've been heard in the whole process. That's kind of pink. And that their needs and wants are being met, you know, for their child. That might work. So that was an all-day thing. It started at 9 a.m. and it went to 3 p.m. with an hour lunch in between. Those might work. A lot of chipboard in there that I can use. So I got my certificate for that. after the course was over. There's some stuff there. Okay, that's enough to start out with. But I had to reschedule my clients that were my Monday clients, so over the weekend I kind of let them know that I needed to reschedule them and I wouldn't be able to see them on Monday because of the class. And then and so I got in touch with them today to kind of figure that out and get them in a time slot that worked for all of us. So I did that, got that all worked out. And then I saw 2 kiddos today. And decided to come in here. I finished that book that I was reading. Eleanor Oliphant is Perfectly Fine, I think it is. And it was really good. The author's last name is Honeyman. And that was the only book that she had written. It was an excellent book. I have to say that I wasn't sure exactly what to expect with the book. Like I said, it was a Goodwill find, so it wasn't like sometimes when I'm at Goodwill and I see a book, if it looks interesting, I'll pick it up. And basically I picked that book up because it was based on the cover was what I did. Because the cover looked kind of neat, and then also is it peanut butter? The cover looked neat, and the premise of the story looked kind of neat. So the back, the kind of the summary of the story that's on the back of the book looked interesting. But after I was done reading it, I looked online to see if she had written any other books, just because it was a really well written book. Really good. Had a lot of depth to it. And she hadn't, but they are making a movie of this book, and it's currently in production, so it's not released yet, but the name of the movie is Eleanor Oliphant is Perfectly Fine. So and I guess Reese Witherspoon bought the rights to the book, or to the movie. So I don't know if she's producing it or what's going on there, but it's supposed to be out like next year, I guess. But I think it'll be an excellent movie. But I started reading the book We Were Liars, that we've been watching the TV show too. I got through to like the 4th episode of the TV series, and I told Scott, I'm like, I want to stop. I don't want to watch anymore because I want to read the book first, because I think that the book is always more in depth than the movie or the TV show or whatever. So so I was like, I really get the feeling that I really need to read the book first. And so I started reading the book, and it's a very easy read. Like, I was shocked how easy of a read it is. It just goes really fast. It's really interesting, like right off the bat. So it's not like one of those books where it's difficult to get into it. Like, you are hooked right away. So that was nice. So I started reading that, and I got to like chapter 7 in one night because it was just like I said, it was an easy read. So I think that I can have it read I could probably have it read in one day. I was thinking that when I started it. I'm like, I should just sit down and read it one day when I don't have anything else to do, and I could just read it all in one day because it's that good of a book. There aren't very many books that I find that are like that, where I just could sit and just read a book all day. There are some that I have, though. I mean, some really long ones too. I think the last book that I read that was like that was a Rosamund Pilcher book, and it was a few years ago, but it was called Coming Home, and that was another book that just like kind of grabbed me from the start, and I just read through the entire book in one day. Didn't get anything else done that day, but I read that book all in one day, and it was a long one. Like I said, it was like 300 or 400 pages. It might have even been longer than that. But when I get hooked in a book, I don't want to stop. And I am the type of person who, like, if I have 50 pages left at the end of the evening, like, usually I read a little bit before I go to bed just because it makes me sleepy. But if I like find that it's like it's bedtime and I'm reading and I only have 50 pages left of the book, and I'm like, ugh, I gotta finish it, you know. I have done that before and then regretted it in the morning. But such is life, right? Okay, so I did put some peach there. I mean, a solid would be okay here, I think. If I did this here. I haven't done any layouts like this in a while where it was like a kind of a square, you know, box one. But we're gonna do it this time. But I'm excited to get that done because I want to watch that show again. I've been waiting to like watch it. But Scott and I, we started watching Dexter a while back, about a month ago, I think. We didn't have anything else to watch, and we were like, we had finished like all of our seasons of everything else that we watched, and just on a whim, we were looking for something to watch, and I'm like, you know, Matt said that Dexter was really good several years ago, like when it first came out, and we were like, nah. I was like, I'm not interested in watching it, and Scott said I'm not interested in what he wasn't interested in watching it. And then and which is shocking because I don't think we really knew what it was about. We call us creepy or whatever, but we love murder mysteries. Like those are our favorite kind of movies. I get in the mood to read a murder mystery book like all the time. Like that's kind of like a fun genre for me, and I don't know why, because that kind of crap really scares me. Especially like, of course, you know, serial killers would terrify you. But like I've seen all of the Jeffrey Dahmer stuff. We watched a couple different shows about serial killers that were on, and for some reason, like, they're intriguing, but it's like they always get caught in the end, and that like kind of makes me happy. Maybe it's just like it's kind of like that thing where you like, I think that I kind of like it because it's interesting, but it's like at the same time it's like, you know, reassuring, like that they get caught in the end. Which Dexter's a little different because he's kind of like, he's a forensic guy that studies blood, and so he's out there killing people. So he works for, like, he works in law enforcement, but he well, on a forensics team, I guess, but or he assists law enforcement, but you know, but he's kind of like, I think Scott likes it because Scott has always been into like vigilante stuff, you know, not physically, but like those kind of movies. Like he loves The Punisher and that kind of stuff, you know, where the bad guy hurts people and then someone goes out and like kind of teaches them a lesson, you know, type of thing. So he's always liked movies like that. And so when we started watching it, that's kind of what Dexter is. Like he doesn't like hurt people that don't deserve it, I guess. You know, I don't know. He tries to, but he does it kind of in a crooked way because like one of the things that he does is like he will take like he'll find out, he's really smart, so like he'll find out about who really committed a murder, or like a lot of times they're dealing with like serial killers and stuff like that, and like he will find out who did it, and then he'll take the paperwork. So like the police have limited resources that they can use to find the bad guy. And so like a lot of times like they get the wrong person because, you know, they don't have enough information and it leads to another person. But he kind of wants that because he wants to kill them. He wants them dead. And the only scary part about that is he's kind of sadistic about it, so that's really kind of scary. It's not like he's just trying to get rid of people because they're bad, which is part of it, but like part of it is also that he's very sadistic. He's like, he gets off on it. So, but we're at a point in the show where his wife gets murdered by a guy that he kills. So and it's a serial killer. He kills the guy. He catches up with the guy and he kills him. And but the guy had already been to his house and murdered his wife in front of their child. And so that was like really sad and really hard to watch. But Scott and I were joking because there's like 4 different Dexter series. Like, we thought that it was just like one. Well, apparently there is a whole bunch of them, and including a brand new one that just came out. And so we are going to be watching this show for a really long time, I have a feeling. But, I mean, we can break it up and watch other stuff too, which we do. You know, you watch a show, you can only binge watch one show for a certain amount of time without getting sick of it, you know. At least that's the way we are. So, I mean, you do get to a point after watching it for a while where you're just like, okay, let's watch something else. This is enough. So. But this fall, like, there'll be new shows coming out. Like, the shows that we normally watch, hopefully, will be back out. And we'll get to start up watching those again. So I'm thinking I should probably make this centered. So this afternoon, I had a client that he had an evaluation for preschool today because he's going to age out of the program soon. And I wanted to make a game to, like, so he could work on some of his skills. And I follow a lot of OT, like, accounts, just because a lot of what I do is, well, it is kind of all encompassing. So I'm not an OT, but I do the same things. Like, I reinforce what an OT does. And then same with PT. Like, a parent will tell me what the PT does, or the PT or OT will text me, and then they'll say, you know, this is what I did with this child. We're working on these skills. If you want to, like, continue working on this in this area, you know. And that's kind of like how we collaborate, is we work together doing that kind of stuff. And some kids have, like, all of the therapists, you know. They have PT, OT, speech and language, and so then you're working with a lot of those therapists. But we're doing, you know, this pretty much the same thing. Like, the child that I saw this morning, we worked on posterior hip tilt in prone position. So so this child can learn to, like, reach toys and things like that while they're in prone. And that's something that, like, PT does. but I'm trained in that way too, like, so I can do those kind of things too with children. But that mom was particularly excited because we finally, her child is now sitting up, and we weren't sure that was going to happen, so that was really exciting. And the child had been sick, so I was really concerned that, like, the child had been sick for almost a month with rhinovirus and a bunch of other, like, really serious sicknesses. And so so I was a little bit concerned because I hadn't seen the child in a month, and PT and OT hadn't seen the child in a month, and we were all getting very concerned because, like, no one was seeing this child, and this child was progressing, and we were afraid that, like, they were going to lose, like, the progress that they had made. But nope. This little go-getter is sitting up by themselves now, and so that's exciting. And so I was super excited when I saw this child last week for the first time in a month, and I was like, what? I was like, oh my goodness. And so that was really exciting. And then PT saw this child, and I asked the mom this morning, I'm like, what did PT say? And she's like, oh my gosh, they were so excited. So now we're working on a different skill. We're working on trying to get the child into, like, a sit-in position from laying down. So it's exciting. It's really those kind of things, like, when you witness, like, these really major things that you're not sure that the child is ever going to be able to do, and they're able to, like, conquer that and just, like, or master it. And it's just like, it's really exciting. It's you can't do this job and not get excited for the kids that you work with, and just, like, cheer them on, and just, like, want them to just, like, succeed, like, at every level, you know. And but not only is this child now sitting up, this child is also beginning to, like, do the swim while in prone. And so that's kind of exciting too, because we were never sure that this child would ever, like, be mobile. And it looks like this child is, like, just adapting, and it's just it's so cool. It's so cool to witness. So it's just a very rewarding career that, like, and it's not always like that. It's not always like, oh, you know, peaches and roses and everything. Like, it doesn't happen that way with all the kids that we work with. I mean, there are some that are, like, you know, there's some kids that I work with that I'm really uncertain about their future. But it's exciting when, like, there's a breakthrough. It's super exciting. But the kiddo I saw this afternoon, they had an eval for preschool, because they're going to age out of my program, or the program that I work with. They'll be too old. And I guess that went really great. I mean, according to Mom, it was like it couldn't have been better. So that was exciting to hear that how much this child had improved and how happy the mom was with our program and like the work that we're doing with them. And so this afternoon, before going to this child's house, I'm thinking that I wanted to bring something different for this child to work on. And so I last week, sometimes I'll like scroll through my phone, and like I follow a lot of like OTs and PTs on Instagram, and also on YouTube, or that kind of stuff. I just follow a lot of them, these clinical sites, and I also pull up, I only follow real doctors and real OTs and real, I don't follow like Joe Blow from the internet. But usually why I follow them is because they have really cool ideas for games, and especially OT, because OT brings toys too, like I do. And so it's I get a lot of ideas from them. I'm good at replicating ideas, but I'm not really all that great with like thinking up ideas on my own. I mean, I suppose I could, but it's just, it can be overwhelming sometimes when you're and why reinvent the wheel if somebody's already created it? That's why they're sharing it, so like other therapists can use it. So I saw this one where they want us to like make toys, like they want all of our toys to be handmade, which is like, they want to do away with the toy bags because they want parents to be able to replicate like the toys that we bring. And I understand that, but it's like, it's a lot of work, and it takes a long time to make some of these things, because you can really, like, any toy that I have that's store-bought in my rotation, I can pretty much make it like with, toilet paper tubes, to like practice the same skill. So toilet paper tubes are something that I save. I save all the paper towel tubes, all the toilet paper tubes. Cardboard is another thing. Like, I will cut up any box that we get, like, and cut big pieces of cardboard out of there, because cardboard is like the base for almost all the toys that I make. And then, I have standard items that I use with all that stuff, that are like pom-pom balls, straws. I have a bunch of little tools, like these little cuppy tools, or a spoon is another one. So the kids use spoons, the kids use little tongs, clothespins, different things like that. So there's a lot of stuff around the house that you can make toys for that are developmental, that work on developmental skills with kids. And basically you're recycling things that you would just normally throw away. So I did that today. I took three toilet paper tubes, and I rolled them in construction paper, and then I took some like window, that stuff that you put on your windows to like weather stripping, I guess it is. So I took weather stripping, and that was already adhesive back, and it was just leftover weather stripping that we had like in the mudroom. And so I cut strips of that to make like bowling lanes, and then I covered it with masking tape so it kind of looked neat, so it didn't look like weather stripping. And then I took that Gorilla Glue tape that's super duper sticky. It's like double-sided and kind of thick. So I attached the toilet paper tubes to the cardboard with that. And then we had a bunch of straws that I had bought for EI. And I just cut off the part that bends because that's just too difficult for kids. And I brought that toy, and that child played with that toy for 45 minutes, almost the entire session. And I kept asking the child, I was like, are you done? Are you all done? And he'd say, no, no more, no more. I'm like, okay, we can play it some more. And so that was like, I'm kind of glad that I made it. I didn't think that he would like it that much, but he was fully capable of like blowing in the straw and blowing the pom-pom ball into the tube. Like, he was really good at it. And so it was like perfect for his developmental stage. And so I don't know that it'll be that great for like, you know, all of my 2-year-olds that I work with, because some have different abilities than others. But for this little guy, that was his favorite toy of the day, was that homemade toy that I made this afternoon. And it took probably about an hour to make. It didn't really take that long. I made it in between clients, but it's always fun, like when they like something that you like, that you made, you know. So I'm thinking of doing journaling there. Like, there's a couple spots that I have here that I can do some journaling. But I kind of like how this is looking. I'm gonna eat some more of my apple. Make sure I don't have any peanut butter on my fingers. You get some ASMR with this video. So Hunter and Jordan's dog died last night, which was totally unexpected and something that they didn't plan on. You know, they just lost Kason in May, and now their dog died. And it's the dog that Jordan has had since when Lainey was alive. So when Lainey was little, she got Ariel as a puppy. And then Lainey passed away. And then, you know, all these kids have known Ariel, you know. But Ariel got into mouse poison on Saturday when Minnie Jordan was here. And Jordan called and she's like, do you have anything that will help make her throw up? Because she got into a bag of decon mouse poison, and it was brand new. It was a brand new bag, but somehow she had chewed it open, and there were 18 balls in the bag, and there were 16 missing. So Ariel had eaten 16 balls of this poison. Well, I told her, I said, I don't have anything that will make her throw up, but I'll look it up. I'll look up, because she didn't know anything about like mouse poison or anything. Well, I looked it up, and decon is like one of the worst for dogs. And but it doesn't kill them right away. It like takes like 3 or 4 days, which is really weird. So Jordan and Hunter rushed Ariel to the vet. The vet that night, the vet gave Ariel shots, sent Ariel home. Didn't really say anything about like Ariel dying or anything. I kind of thought Ariel was going to be okay after they said that they took Ariel to the vet. But then they took Ariel back to the vet on Monday, and the vet didn't really say anything as far as like how she was doing. She seemed to be like behaving okay. So Jordan wasn't sure, but she had talked to a friend who like cares for dogs, and her friend said it would, you know, that, or works with dogs or whatever, and said that it's very unlikely that Ariel will live through this, because it's really bad. And so Jordan took the kids out yesterday and took pictures of them with Ariel, so at the park. And so there's pictures of Esme with Ariel, and there's pictures with Corbin with Ariel, and that was while Minnie J was still here. They picked up Minnie J on Sunday. Yeah, Minnie J was in some of the pictures, I think, if I remember right. I'm not quite sure if he was in the pictures or not, but so she took pictures with Ariel, and Ariel looked fine. I mean, in the pictures, she didn't look like she was sick. She was walking around and stuff, but Jordan said that they woke up this morning and she was dead. So she had died in her sleep. So I guess mouse poison is really deadly for dogs. I didn't realize that. I wouldn't have known that. No one has, like, we have never bought like mouse poison. We've had mice, but Scott usually just like sets a trap for the mice. There was one year that, like a few years ago, that we were just having like a terrible time with mice. They just kept getting in the house. We kind of live outside city limits, so like across the road from us is like forest land. I mean, it's like we have houses behind us on our side of the road, but like across the street from us, like there's nothing. Like there's houses across the street from us, but behind those houses there's nothing. It's just all like trees and woods and that kind of stuff. And so like it's not surprising that like mice are like trying to find a place to live during the wintertime. So that's this one. It's just the story of today. I don't think that I'm going to put, because this is going to go right next to like the other page that says like gifts, I think. The other page says gifts or something like that. So, I mean, that's going to like, it's kind of self-explanatory. I don't think it really needs like anything like any different than that. But so when I found out that Ariel passed away, well, apparently Esme has been really emotional the past couple days. Jordan said that she just apparently she wanted to spend the night at our house when they came to pick up Mini Jordan, and she couldn't because I had to work yesterday. Well, I had that class yesterday. I didn't have to work yesterday. But Jordan knew that, and like it would be too hard to watch a 3-year-old, and I had just kept Mini Jordan like all weekend, and so she told her no, and Esme didn't like that. And Esme is at this age where she's kind of turning into a little Miss Sassy Pants. And she must get it from her older sister or her mom, because none of us talk to her that way. I don't know where she gets it from, unless it's Jordan's mom, because Jordan's mom can be a little, she's joking, but she can be a little, like, she's hilarious, honestly, but, she can kind of instigate, like, some of the stuff, like when Esme went through a stage where she was flipping people the bird, and it was like a very aggressive bird when she would give it to people, and we knew that she had learned that either from her brother or her sister, her older brother or sister, when she's at her mom's house. It could be her mom too, because her mom's kind of rough around the edges too. But Jordan's mom thought it was funny, and so Jordan's mom was like telling her to flip the bird at people, and so she was doing that, and I was like, I had a talk with her, because she gave Poppy the bird, and I said, Esme, I said, we don't do that. I said, that is not nice. I said, you do not do that, because I don't want her going to school and like flipping the teacher the bird and getting kicked out of school. I mean, she's gonna start preschool this fall. It's like, oh my goodness, like, you know. And I know that Hunter and Jordan discipline her when she does that kind of stuff. You know, they're kind of strict. They're stricter than I am, actually, you know, because they don't want her to grow up like getting into trouble at school and stuff like that. But yeah, she's a little pill. But so apparently she got mad at Jordan, said, I don't like you, because she wouldn't let her spend the night. And so then last night Jordan texted me at around 10:30 and said, can Esme call you, because she's very emotional and she wants to talk to you. And I said, sure. But I didn't see the text until like almost 11 o'clock. And so I told her, I said, yeah, she can call. And she's like, oh, she's in bed. She's in bed now. It's too late. And I said, well, she said, I'll have her call you tomorrow. So I got home from seeing the first client, and I texted her, because I wanted to, like, I had read that, you know, that they had told us that Ariel passed away. And I wanted to check on her and see how she was doing. And also I wanted to see if they wanted to bury Ariel in our yard, because 2 of our dogs are buried in our yard. Cooper and Ginger. They've been, gosh, Cooper died the first year that we lived here in 2004, and then Ginger died a couple years later. Cooper got hit by a car when Matt was waiting for the bus at the bus stop. Cooper got out. He was a poodle. He got out and he saw Matt and ran to Matt by the bus stop, and a car just happened to be like going by, and a car hit Cooper, and Matt was devastated. He was just like, man, he didn't go to school that day. The guy was really nice though. I think the woman who hit the dog was like, she was really upset. I don't know, because what happened was I think the woman said she worked at the high school that hit the woman who hit Cooper. But she had called her husband, and her husband came and carried Cooper, well, put Cooper in the back of his car, and then gave Cooper to us, like, and Matt was with, or Matt wasn't with them. Matt had walked home. But yeah, so he was really nice, and he said his wife felt terrible, you know, about hitting the dog, and I understood. I was like, yeah, he bolted out the door. Like, when Matt left, he just bolted out the door, and what are you gonna do when a dog just bolts out the door, you know? And Cooper was notorious for that, you know? He was always doing that, so it was nobody's fault, but apparently the wife was really broken up about it, and asked her husband to help, like, handle it. So we buried Cooper out in front of the plum tree, which we had to cut down years ago, but we buried him under there, and then Ginger was Matt's Labradoodle that we bought him for his 11th birthday, I want to say. So that would have been like a couple years later, like 2006. And 11th or 12th birthday, maybe it was his 12th birthday. And so it had to have been 2006 or 2007, because I was homeschooling then. But because I worked until the summer of 2006, and then I quit. But Ginger was a purebred. I mean, we bought Ginger from a breeder, but the thing is the breeder that we bought him from was out of Springfield, and it was a home. It wasn't like a professional breed. I don't know if they had professional breeding, but it was Ginger was registered Labradoodle. We had asked if, and Ginger was a puppy when we got her, and we asked if, like, she had had all of her shots and everything, and they said yes, she has had all of her shots. So we had assumed that she had all of her shots, and we had never heard of parvo before. And apparently we had parvo in our backyard, and that summer, so it was December when we got her, because Matt's birthday is in December, and that summer, the next summer, so or the first summer that we had gotten her, so she contracted parvo. And we had another dog at the time too, Nana, and Nana was a dachshund. and we had gotten Nana from some friends who had, their dog had puppies, and so Matt had Ginger, and the other, like, Hunter wanted a dog, and so they asked if we wanted one of the puppies, and we said sure, but we never even asked about shots with them. Like, we never thought to ask about shots with Nana. And so Ginger started getting sick, and we kept them in the same kennel together. Like, we kenneled them together. We had this big giant kennel, And we kenneled them together. And Ginger started getting sick. Like, she was just laying down and lethargic, and just like, she just did not look well. And so we called the vet, and the vet was like, you know, asking us questions, and was she outside? And we said, well, she goes outside to go potty, you know. And they said, well, bring her in. But they said, if it's parvo, there's nothing we can do, and we don't want her in the office. We will see her out in your vehicle, because we don't want her in our building, because it's highly contagious. And so at this point, she could not walk. So a friend of mine was here, and she helped me, and Scott was at work, and so she helped me carry Ginger, who was a pretty big dog by that time, and put her in our van, and we drove over to Timbercrest, which is our vet, and they came out and looked at her, and they said she has parvo, and she's gonna die, and she's probably gonna die soon, because she was already, they said rigor mortis was already setting in, and that's why she couldn't walk. And we're like, but she wasn't sick like 2 days ago. And they're like, it hits fast. Like, if your dog gets parvo, it hits fast. Well, I told them, I said, we have another dog. And they're like, is that dog sick? And we said, no, she's not showing any signs of being sick. And they're like, well, that dog's probably going to die too, you know. And so we're like, okay, so we didn't want Ginger to suffer. So they told us to take her to animal control, and then they would put her to sleep. So we took Ginger to animal control, or Matt and I did. Matt was with me, and they put her to sleep, and Matt, you know, Matt and I were very upset, you know, because we'd never watched an animal die before. They gave her a treat. I thought that was really precious. Like, they gave her like a special treat. I think it was an ice cream cup or something, and she didn't really want it, but like, she was hot, and she just kind of licked at it a little bit, you know. But I think it was more to make Matt feel better than anything. And we told them at animal control, we said, we have another dog that's probably going to die. And they said, well, if you want to bring her in, we will, you know, we can do the same thing. But it was like $100 to put, and that was back, like I said, 2006 or 2007, to put Ginger down. And they said, we can have her cremated, or you can bury her in your backyard. And we're like, we'll take her home and bury her. So that's what we did. We buried Ginger under our crabapple tree, and that's where she is. Or Scott buried her, I guess. I shouldn't say I buried her. And we have a hamster buried out in our backyard, and a couple guinea pigs, and I think, well, maybe a couple hamsters, actually. Every time a pet would die, Scott would go out back and bury the animal in our yard. But it's hard when you lose a pet. Sometimes I get annoyed by our pets, and I'm like, ugh, you know, I think they're gonna outlive us sometimes, because they just are so annoying sometimes. And I'm like, man, they're both so old, and it's they just keep ticking away. But what else can I use? Dream, smile, laugh. I do like the hearts. This really is kind of her vibe, this boho type thing. So, I mean, this is a good choice to use for this. But so anyways, I texted Jordan and I told her, I said, do you want us to bury Ariel? And she said, no, we already took her to be cremated. So Jordan's very sentimental. She'll probably have like her ashes made into jewelry or something. Jordan's really big on like that kind of stuff. I mean, she was a very special dog to her, so I'm not surprised at all. Since she was Lainey's dog. So I think in the middle here, I'm just gonna randomly like put like stuff like up here. So, but anyways, so I had called, or I had, in that text, I also said, I'm home now, so if you want to have Esme call me, I can talk to her. And Jordan's like, well, she's playing right now. And I said, oh, okay. And I forgot about it. And then I had to get ready. Like, I was making that toy, and then I got ready to go again. And I got home, and Jordan had text like around 3:30, and she said, you can call Esme now if you want. And I text back, I said, okay, I'm ready. And like, it was only like 10 minutes later, 10 or 15 minutes later, and I said, okay, I'm calling now. And Jordan's like, oh, Hunter already took her home. She had to go back today. And I'm like, oh man. So I missed like talking to her at all. This entire weekend, which, you know, we're so used to seeing each other every single weekend that like it just didn't work out this weekend that we could do that. But and then the next time I see her in 2 weeks is her birthday party, because she's going to be her 4th birthday party. So that's in 2 weeks. So I'll definitely see her then. But I feel bad because she went home and she didn't get to talk to Grandma, and it's like, I don't want her to think that like, and I can't call her at her mom's because we just don't do that. All right, so I could put her name. I could do. I need my tweezers though. Where are they? In here. And I talked to Yesenia, her, because I'm flying out for Aria's first birthday party, which is in August as well. So that's in 3 weeks. And she wanted to know if I wanted a t-shirt that said, Aria's first birthday, or something about her grandma, and or like proud grandma of Aria or something on her first birthday or something. I'm not exactly sure. She sent me the picture of it, and it's really cute. So I guess her and Matt are doing Mom and Dad in white, but I think they got one for her dad, because her dad will be at the birthday party. Her mom won't. Her mom was deported and she can't get back into the country, so she was deported like over 10 years ago. The first major deportation sweep, she got deported, but her dad did not, because her dad was here legally. Her mom had been here legally. Her mom had been here for over 20 years. But her visa had expired and she hadn't had it renewed. And see, her dad worked, so his was renewed. And so he had to stay legal in order to do his job. And of course, all the kids, they were born here. So, like, it wasn't, they didn't have to worry about them. But, like, Yessie's mom didn't work. So, like, she didn't think she needed, like, she just wasn't thinking that, like, it would be a very big deal, you know, and they weren't deporting people for like years and years. And so she never really thought anything of it. And then they came one day and she was deported, and they will not let her back into the country unless she pays $50,000. That's what they told her. She had to pay $50,000 in order to get a visa, because she did not. That's like a fine, because she didn't get it renewed, and they'll never be able to afford to be able to afford $50,000. There's no way. So she missed Yesenia's graduation. Well, all the kids' graduation. She missed. She has never seen Aria, because Matt and Yessie don't want to bring Aria down to Mexico, just because her mom has not been well. She's been sick, and with like pneumonia and things like that. So, and she's been sick for a while because she has emphysema, and she has a really poor immune system. So she's never met Aria. She's only seen Aria like through videos and things like that. And pictures. Her dad was living in the United States for a really long time, and then when his visa expired, he just decided to move back to Mexico, and so he lives there. He kind of needs to be there to help take care of her mom, but they live, like, we've been to their house, and her mom and dad's house, and it's like it's like a split house. It's kind of interesting. It's like a duplex kind of, but it's like a ranch style duplex. So like one side there's like this like patio in between the two houses that are connected. So like one side is where Yesenia's mom and dad live, and then the other side is where her aunt lives. So her dad's sister and her family. So like when her dad has to come up to the United States, her aunt is there, like to kind of watch over her mom, you know. So like her mom isn't like by herself. Like most of their family lives around them. When we go down there, they always have a big fiesta like in Mexico. I don't know how difficult it'll be like for us to go to Mexico like the next time if we go to Mexico. The last time we were down there was it after the wedding? We've been down to Mexico twice. Once before Matt and Yessie was married, and once after they were married. But usually when I go to visit, her dad Jose is there. Because they kind of, where they live is only like 2 hours from the Mexican border. So her dad can drive like from where they live to because her mom and dad live on the border. So just put that. I like how that turned out. That's cute. So I did this one, and I did this one, which they're kind of simple, but I actually like them. That way, where did I put the other ones? Let's set that there. So, but I'm sad because I really care about her mom. I mean, I don't like that she's sick. I mean, of course, like, medicine is a lot cheaper down there. Like, she's in and out of the hospital quite a lot, so, and surprisingly, the hospital where Matt and Yessie live is not the best. My sister Ann was really disappointed. My sister Ann is a nurse, and my dad had to go into the hospital one time when we were visiting Matt and Yessie, and he ended up in that hospital. And Ann was really annoyed because all the nurses there, they look like they came off of like Grey's Anatomy. Like, they did not look like a normal nurses. They look like, you know, like long nails, hair, you know, all done, makeup, false eyelashes, the whole thing, like looking like a Kardashian, basically. And they were not very good quality nurses. Like, they were just like not very caring, more concerned about like more concerned about other stuff than taking care of their patients. And my sister tried to tell the nurse a couple things. She's like, and the nurse is like, oh, just let me do my job. I know what I'm doing. And Ann's like, no, you don't. Because, you know, I work in Phoenix as a nurse, and I can tell you right now that what you're doing is not right. And this girl, the young girl that was like decided she was going to argue with Ann, hadn't been a nurse for very long. And Anne's been a nurse since, 1986. So, I mean, she's retired. My sister actually retired last year from nursing. But my sister was mad because, like, they were not taking good care of my dad. And they were making mistakes, like, right and left. And Anne was like, she's like, and my dad was seriously ill. Like, he was septic. And, like, they were not listening. They were just, like, I don't know, more concerned about the whole aesthetic of being a nurse and not being a real, nurse. So, which, it shocks me that my parents moved there. That's the thing. After all that they went through with, like, all of that, but my dad can go to the VA hospital. I think Mom said the reason why they decided to move there was because, other than that they love the area, and one of Dad's best friend from back home in Wisconsin vacations there. He winters there with his wife. So they know someone there, that they can hang out with and that kind of stuff. But was because Lake Havasu was building the Veterans Hospital. So and that's what my dad does not have to pay for any of his health care if he goes to the VA. So So I think that's why they moved. I thought it was to be closer to Anne, but now, like, they're on the outs. Anna's not talking to Mom. I don't think she's talking to Dad either, but like, I don't think she's mad at Dad. I think she's just mad at Mom. Which is unusual for our family. Our family does not do that. Our family does not write people off. We've just never been that kind of family. We've just never written people off in our family. And no matter what they did, we've never thrown away the baby with the bathwater. And I think partially the reason why Mom and Dad wanted to move is because Kenny, my brother, his two kids live there. Like, one daughter lives in Nevada. His ex-wife lives in Nevada, actually, in Vegas. And Sasha goes to college up there. And then Madison lives in Utah, I guess. So she doesn't live that far away either. Or the last I heard, she lived in Utah with her boyfriend. But so Mom wanted to be closer to those granddaughters, and Kenny could see, like, Kenny lives with Mom and Dad, so then Kenny could be near his daughters. But Kenny's really distraught, like, right now, and I don't blame him, because I think from what I understand from Yesenia, she told me, because I'm not there very often, but so I don't even know, like, but I know Yesenia would never lie about something like this. But from what I understand, my niece Sasha is transgender. She changed genders, and she goes by a different name now. I forget what it is. But I haven't seen her since she's done that. Apparently it happened in college. So I've always known her to be like, you know, feminine, and like I would have never guessed. Like, I mean, I would have guessed my sister Anne's daughter to be trans before Sasha, but my sister Anne's daughter got married and they live in Vermont. But Megan was always kind of a tomboy type, you know, girl. Sasha never was. She wasn't like, I don't know what happened there. I don't know why, or if it's a permanent thing, or if she's just like, she's Hunter's age, so she's Ethan's age, so she's 19, or no, she's 21. She's just a little bit older than Ethan, because she was born in February and Ethan was born in April. So like a couple months different. So she would be 21. She's still in college. So I don't know if this is just like a phase she's going through. I'm kind of hoping it is, to be honest. But there's just nothing, you know. I do believe that there are true trans people out there with gender dysphoria, and I believe that, you know, but I think that it's become an epidemic, and I think that like people that are just unsure of themselves are coming out this way, like where they just don't know, like instead of like questioning, like, you know, because we all did, like when we were young, you know, when we were around 21, we didn't understand life very well, you know, we were just, it was all like trial and error, you know, and, you know, everybody felt kind of like a misfit, you know, and so, but we didn't put a label on it, you know, we just kind of like, we just kind of went, you know, went on and did our thing, and, you know, that's just kind of how it was. It wasn't like, I don't think that we had to put a label on it. But it's like people today, like our kids today, they almost feel like they have to put a label on it, and I don't know why. But my niece is really big into theater. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it, or she's half Bosnian. So I don't know what that side of the family is like. I don't know how Bosnians believe, or, you know, but they're Americans. I mean, they're American citizens. They're not here illegally or anything. They're here legally. They've lived in this country for a long time. Long before Kenny and Lydia got married. But, and from what I understand, Lydia and Kenny are not divorced. I thought they divorced years ago, but technically they're still married, even though they haven't lived together since Sasha was probably 3 years old. I don't know. I think it's kind of unfortunate that, like, they don't get a divorce, because Kenny has never been able to kind of move on with his life, you know. It's kind of sad when you have all this kind of stuff hanging over your head, and like you have no closure, because it's just like still there, you know. It's just like another day still there. But I don't know. I don't know if I should put that there or... I'm gonna do that. So we have this picture. I think I'm gonna cut the top off of this though. So I don't know, like, I know that Yesenia would not lie about that, like, about, like, Sasha being transgender. But I haven't heard anything about it because my mom, when my mom ever talks about her, she calls her Sasha. So I don't know. And my parents are very liberal people, so I would think that they would, like, if she had changed, like, genders, they would definitely support her, you know, in that area. I mean, she's an adult. I mean, she has every right to be whoever she wants to be. I'm not gonna, like, stand here and say that, like, I wouldn't support her because... But I do think it's kind of an epidemic. I think it's kind of sad that, like, what our country has turned into, where, like, kids are so confused. These young adults are so confused. And I don't know if it's because they're not getting the guidance they need, or if they're just, like, you know, watching too much TikTok, or I don't really know. I don't know if they're getting influenced in some way by someone else, or I'm not exactly sure. Because the last time I saw Sasha was at their wedding. Sasha came to the wedding and she wore a dress. And, like, when she went home, she sent me a picture of her cosplay costume, and she was an anime girl with this beautiful gown on, you know, like a Studio Ghibli type girl with a beautiful gown and blue hair, you know, long blue hair, and she was beautiful. And even her senior pictures were, like, she looked like a girl. She was wearing girl clothes, and she wasn't wearing, she didn't look boyish at all. So I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes interpretations are different based on, like, culture. So I don't know if, like, I know that I get it wrong a lot with Yessie, and I feel bad sometimes because, like, I have said stuff that I didn't think was, like, rude or disrespectful. Like, I just was talking to her like anybody else. And, you know, I try to be, like, culturally appropriate, like, because that's what I learned in school, you know, to be culturally aware and appropriate, you know, in all situations. And I said that to her one time, and she was highly offended. She said, I am an American. She said, I may be Mexican as far as, like, blood goes, but I was born and raised in America. I speak English fluently. You know, she said, I consider myself an American. She said, so when you say things like, according to my culture, like, we have cultural differences, she said, no, we don't have cultural differences. She goes, because I am an American. She said, I was born here. I grew up here. She said, I may have had Mexican parents, but she said, I went to school with American kids. And she said, so she says, I don't understand the whole cultural appropriation thing, because she said, she finds it offensive. And I understand that. I mean, if you're an American and you were born and raised here, it's kind of like calling a black person an African American and they've never ever lived in Africa. You know, it's kind of like insulting because they're like, why are you calling me an African American when I was born and raised in the United States, and you're calling me that based on the color of my skin? You're not calling me that because I come from Africa, because I don't. You know, and it makes total sense, you know. And I think that that's what she was getting at, was she was like, it's offensive to me because I see myself as an American. You know, she says, yes, I know I'm Hispanic, but she said, I see myself as an American just like you. And I understand that. Not everybody may see it that way. I mean, because everybody's different. But that's how she is. And even her family is like that too. Like her brother one time, I asked her brother how to say something in Spanish one time. And her brother's like, he goes, I couldn't tell you how to say anything in Spanish. He said, I grew up speaking English. He said, I speak English. He goes, I know so little Spanish. He said, I can communicate with my parents. I can understand, or he says, I can understand some of what they say, but he says, I don't even understand everything they say. Because he, you know, was born and raised in the United States. And like Yessie said, she's been really bad about, she wants Aria to be bilingual. But she said she's been really bad at like working with her on Spanish because no one speaks Spanish in her family. I mean, her dad does, but they only see her dad like every once in a while. I mean, everybody else speaks English. Even her grandma speaks English. So it's like, but Yessie said, she's like, I'm kind of failing my daughter because she's like, she felt like she should be working with her on that kind of stuff. And I said, there's time. I said, you know, little kids, they like before the age of 5, they say, like they pick stuff up. Like if she's hearing your dad, you communicate with your dad in Spanish, she doesn't need formal lessons. She's just going to pick it up. And like their brains work like 50 million times faster than ours. So like they're able to like process that stuff and understand it better than us. So but yes, he's like, well then how come we didn't, you know, we don't remember stuff. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, yes, he can speak Spanish quite well. Like she's fluent in both English and Spanish, but you wouldn't know. Like she is so fluent in English that she you wouldn't know talking to her. But but she's also the lightest skinned of all of her family. Like she's very, very light skinned, Hispanic. Her sister and her sisters and brother Carla is darker than Yessie. Tish is light skinned too, I would say. So is actually Jose is kind of light skinned too. His kids are really light skinned, but he's with his wife is white, so that makes sense too. So Aria, like you can't really tell that she is Hispanic at all, but I don't mind. I love that we have a mix of cultures in our family. I mean, I love this. my aunt Ruth is Hispanic, and although she was not born in Mexico, she was born in California. And her father was white. So she's kind of, my Aunt Ruth is kind of half Mexican like Aria. You can't really tell that she's Hispanic, you know, kind of because she's so light skinned. But Zayden is more dark skinned like his mom. He's darker skinned than Yessie. But she's expecting, Carla is expecting, she's due in September, and she's expecting a little girl, and with Julian, and Julian is Hispanic, so I suspect the little girl will be probably darker skinned, but not that it mattered. I mean, I think that it's beautiful. Like, I think that the darker skin color is beautiful. But I tend to stick my foot in it sometimes because I don't, you know, we all have biases that we don't realize, and we don't mean to like present ourselves like we're biased at all. You know, we're like, oh, I'm not prejudiced, I'm not biased, and I wouldn't ever say I'm not prejudiced. I don't think that I'm any better than anybody else. But I think that we all we say things that are offensive without even knowing it sometimes, or meaning to. Like I did to Yesenia. You know. And now I just don't, like, I never mention culture at all when I'm around her or her family. I just don't. I mean, she cooks like Mexican dishes because that's what she grew up eating, and she's a wonderful cook. They're all delicious. They're all just so good. But otherwise, she's like, I think that she just cooks it because that's what she grew up eating. But she also makes like lasagna and, you know, Chinese food. She loves sushi, and, you know, she's just like anybody else. She's just like any other person, you know. They don't just eat Mexican food because she's Hispanic. You know, in fact, for their wedding, their favorite restaurant in town is an Italian restaurant, and for their wedding they had that restaurant cater, and they had Alfredo and mastacholi and garlic bread and salad for their wedding. So they didn't even serve like Mexican food at all at their wedding. But the rehearsal dinner they served Mexican food, and they had a mariachi band and that kind of stuff. So but I'm excited to see what Aria's first birthday. I know that it's going to be beautiful. I've been helping like buy some different things for the party because I told her that I would help out some with it, because I know that the first birthday, and this is cultural. I mean, I shouldn't say that she's not cultural at all, because she told me in Hispanic culture that the first birthday is incredibly important to celebrate, and that like they really go all out with the first birthday. And like almost a wedding kind of. Um but and then like the quinceanera, like Aria will have a quinceanera when she's older. And that'll be very special too. That'll be a big one. But she said that those 2 birthdays are like the most important birthdays. So, but they didn't rent a hall or anything. They're doing it at their house, which they do a lot of stuff at their house because they have a big yard. They have the biggest yard of her family, of her brothers and sisters and everything. So they're usually the ones that that host at their house. Like Carla's baby shower was at her house, at their house. But I'm excited to go. It's hard to believe that the last time I saw her was in January. That was the first time I met her and the last time I saw her. Well, I mean, we FaceTime each other about every week, so I see her every week, but like, and I interact with her. You know, she knows I'm grandma. Like, she smiles immediately on FaceTime. She's just all, it's grandma, you know. I mean, she can't talk yet, but she like immediately sees my face and she recognizes me and she smiles at me, which I'm glad about because like I worry with living across the country from them. Like, is she gonna know me? Is she gonna remember me? You know. But they're gonna come here for Thanksgiving, I guess, is the plan. So for my birthday, they said that they were going to come for my birthday. So that's exciting. I'm excited about that. And they want Aria to meet her cousins and stuff like that. So that's going to be very special. But then I found out from my parents that they're coming like not the same weekend. They're coming like 2 weeks before to celebrate with me. And so it's gonna be like lots of company like in a row, but it's okay. I don't know, should I use, this is kind of gray, but I like it. I think Yessie will like it. Okay, so let's do, what should I write? I think this is going to be the last layout for tonight. I did a few. I don't know how long this is in. I need to fold clothes before I go to bed. Well, not fold clothes, put away clothes, I should say. Scott and I spent a lot of time on Sunday folding clothes, so. All right. Should I do gifts? Treasured gifts? Gifts of love? Do G. Actually, do you ever do this? Like, one thing that I like to do is go backwards with my lettering because I am notorious for writing words and then running out of space at the end. So I think Scott and I are going to have a date night this weekend. I'm hoping. We have not gotten out in a while. We're either going to go to the Korean barbecue place, which I love, but it's expensive. So that's kind of like, We don't go there very often because it's really expensive. And they don't tell you, like, you order like your base, and then they like keep like depending on how many times you, like, it's kind of a buffet type thing situation, but it's not like a set price, I don't think. I don't know. It's like depending on what you get, like you take on the buffet, I think they charge you more money. I don't know, but the last time Scott and I went there, it was like $100 for both of us, and it was like, whoa. I mean, we paid it, but like we said, that is very expensive for 2 people. But it was delicious. It was so good. So I don't know. I don't know where we're gonna go. And we were gonna go to the Superman movie. Hunter took Carter, Jordan's brother, the other day, and because Carter wanted to see it, and Jordan wasn't necessarily all that thrilled to see it. But Hunter said it was probably the best movie he's seen all year. And that's saying a lot for Hunter because he is a Marvel fan. He is not really a DC fan. So I think Superman's DC, isn't it? I'm not big on comics. But Hunter said that, like, I would even enjoy it. He's like, you would really like it. He said it's just really, really good. He said it's the best Superman movie he's ever seen. So, so I don't know if we'll go to the movies. We really have not. There really has not been any really good movies, like, in a while. So, like, we have not gone to the movies since, I can't even tell you the last movie that we saw. I think it was the Barbie movie, to be honest. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the Barbie movie. That is sad, because that was a while ago. We just always wait. It's expensive to go to the movies, and it's so much easier to just like if we wanted to, we could just, like, now you can just get a movie that's even out at the theater. You can buy it on your TV and watch it at home, and it's less money than the theater because, like, you have your own snacks. You're not buying like pop or popcorn out, which is like more than your ticket usually. But I feel bad too because, like, theaters are going to be like a thing of the past. Kind of like drive-in theaters kind of went obsolete. I have a feeling that movie theaters are going to eventually go obsolete because it's too easy to just stay home and watch movies. So Scott said today that Eaton chose our thing that we're gonna, every year they have like a family fun day. Last year we went to Peoria to see, like, they chose like the whole, like, they take votes, and like whatever the highest vote is what they do for everybody for family fun day. So last year was a baseball game. I forget the name of the team, but it's like the Peoria something. I guess I didn't know this when we went there, but like, we're big Cardinals fans, but then I found out my husband told me. He'd never mentioned it before, but he told me that, like, the players, like the team in Peoria, like, they're like a lower team of the Cardinals. So like a lot of the players that play for this team go on to play for the Cardinals. So that was kind of exciting. It was a fun game. It was fun to watch and, you know, and meet like some of the people that the guys worked with. Ethan didn't go to that. Neither did Hunter or Jordan. They didn't do it. But this year they offered us like a choice to go to like Knights Action, water park, to have a tour of Eaton, and like have bounce houses and and like food catered in or whatever. That was one of the options. Another option was to get free tickets to State Fair. I can't remember what the other ones were. But so Scott told me today that they voted, and I guess it's the State Fair. So we have free tickets to the State Fair, which Scott and I have never. Well, I shouldn't say Scott hasn't, but I've never been to the Illinois State Fair. Not ever. I've been to the Wisconsin State Fair, but never the Illinois State Fair. So we will probably do that because I like to do the family fun thing. I don't know if Hunter and Jordan will. I don't know their plans. It's hard for them, like with mini Jordan, because it's hard to like push a wheelchair around a fairground. Like there's usually mud, lots of dirt. It's just hard. It's really hard. So I don't know what their plans are, but regardless, Scott and I will go. So even if they don't go, I don't know if Ethan will go, or he has friends that work at Eaton, so he might go with a buddy or something. I don't know. He's usually on his own. Like he does stuff with the family every once in a while. But he mostly like hangs out with his gym buddies or his work buddies or whatever. He's at that age where like mom and dad just aren't cool anymore. But he does, I mean, he will go out to like breakfast with us, or, you know, that kind of stuff. There we go. Okay, so I have gifts of love, and then I just put some enamel dots, but that's good enough. So I think I only have, how many pictures do I have left? I'm going to try to get that on the other side, like at my, like, I really only have these 3 pictures left. The food, and then like that sweatshirt and this picture, and that is it of the shower. I'm done with the shower. So it's basically the back page. This will go on the back page on yellow, which is fine. That will work. But so, well, I thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was kind of chatty like usual, but I always like to catch up and talk about what's going on in my life. I hope to see you back here this weekend. My week's pretty busy. So the rest of the week, usually Wednesday and Thursday are my major busy days, and then Friday I have one client that I see, and then I have my weekend. So the next 2 days are always like, Wednesday and Thursday are always crazy busy for me. That's the days that I see the most clients in a row. They're kind of back to back to back. So, but everybody take care, and I hope you have a good week. Bye.